Recast T'Challa. Doubling down on Black Death is a trope we no longer want to handle. Wakanda forever, T'Challa forever. It's never been about the mantle. Doubling down on Black Death is a trope we no longer want to handle. Wakanda forever, T'Challa forever. It's never been about the down on Black Death is a trope we no longer want to handle. Wakanda forever, T'Challa forever. It's never been about the mantle. What is we saying?
White people don't lose their motherfucking superheroes.
We will not recast the character.
Recast T'Challa.
When Chad passed, it was a real conversation we had with Coogler, and it was a fast conversation. It wasn't weeks, it was minutes of, we have to figure out how to move this franchise on without that character.
Bastard!
It is a bastard that the child is, but ever since Recast T'Challa became a loud vocal cry on our internet, we, those of us, were saying that they should recast, were met with a certain bit of criticism. Sexism. These guys are nothing but the He-Man women's hating club that we wanted T'Challa back, and all the reasons we said, which black representation being that. The only reason that they wouldn't be accepting of is that they hate Shuri. That's what's happening. They hate Shuri, and this was a anti-Shuri message. I tried not to entertain that. This is the fourth week in a row I'm talking Recast T'Challa on a live stream, and I haven't really dug into it. I'm digging into it today. In the comics, yes, there are issues from 2009 where Shuri gets that mantle. I get it. Now, during that time, if you wanted to read something with T'Challa in it, you still could. They were in those same comic books. You could read him in the Daredevil run on Hell's Kitchen. You could read T'Challa during the Shuri reign. While the mantle did switch to her, she was officially Black Panther. It never came at the expense of T'Challa like it is now. Nadia is joining me from the Low Key Cave, and let me hear it. Like, you saw the movie Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. I wanted T'Challa recast. Are you someone also who believes T'Challa should have been recast, and are you still for it?
In the second movie, no, because it was way too soon. And do I feel like he should be recasted in general? I don't I don't actually really care. I mean, if they want to keep it as Shuri, then yeah, cool. I'm cool with that. I didn't have a problem with the movie. I thought it was entertaining. It was a lot to grasp, but like that's just, I feel like it was a bunch of rewriting that they had to do. So I mean, if they want to recast them, it's whatever.
You're not saying, yo, Chillmonger, how could you be so anti-Shuri that you're talking about this recast stuff? Why aren't you receiving it as an anti-Shuri, anti-women's? And why did you take that question so easily, so lightly?
Because I'm not all about everything has to star a woman, or let's like, okay, I understand there's always been a Batgirl, and I don't see nothing wrong with making a Batgirl movie, but like if there was never a Batgirl, I don't think they should make a Batgirl. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just everything don't have to be a woman and everything don't have to be a man. So like the whole bringing gender into this is just weird as fuck about fictional characters, especially when, yes, his sister actually took over the mantle at one point in time. So like, I don't. I mean, and I don't see anything wrong with them recasting him, because what do little black boys have to look up to? That was the one thing they had to look up to as far as black superheroes. And there's nothing wrong with people being like, okay, well, black girls need a superhero to look up to. Okay, well, don't take the one from the black person. I saw a clip from a podcast where they was talking about all of the redhead characters are being replaced with black people. And I was like, wait, they started out with like, okay, Mary Jane, she got replaced by Zendaya. Okay, I was like, okay, yeah. And then they kept going. They was talking about Starfire, I think that's her name.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh.
Ninja Turtles, April O'Neil.
Okay, now she was originally, I heard she was black in the comics, but yeah, April O'Neil. I was just like, oh, and then they just kept going, and I was like, Why they taking away gender representation for us? Why does somebody always have to get taken away for us to have our representation? That's not what we want. We want representation for all. Like, damn, y'all can't be like Target. I'm not praising Target, like, but as far as like their representation, I can say when you look at their models, they got slim, big, tall children in wheelchairs. I don't think people understand like how children in wheelchairs don't have that much representation. And for them to pick a model to be a child, and it's a
Mm.
child that's in a wheelchair, like representation.
If you
Good.
think
I'm
about
glad they did that.
everybody deserves representation. Everybody gets
Yeah.
representation, and it's the same fight no matter what you look like. Sometimes during this live stream, I'll take a little bit longer to get to this segment, but the feedback that I got from the ally who I'm about to play is worth jumping right into it. So it's that time of the show, friends. Let's hear from the ally of the week.
I grew up in the 80s. I was not your typical girl. I was much more tomboy. And my mom recognized this. So she decided to introduce me to Wonder Woman. This was a character created during a time when women did not have as much rights and were not as respected, especially in male spaces. She was revolutionary. She even inspired women's right movements. She became a symbol thanks to Gloria Allred. And to this day, her influence surpasses just her comic book. The thought of this character never appearing again on the big screen would be a disservice for girls everywhere. There is another character out there who has the same importance for a community, as much historical relevance as Wonder Woman, and that character would be T'Challa, the Black Panther. This was a character created in the 60s and didn't get his first live performance until recently in the MCU. Now, Chadwick Boseman did an amazing job bringing T'Challa to life, but unfortunately, he ended up passing away. And the studio and the director made the odd choice of deciding to not recast him. I don't think this is fair to the community because they have waited so long to finally see this character brought to life. Multiple actors have played very famous superheroes over the years. There have been a few who have passed away, but that doesn't mean they stopped recasting the roles. The studios realize characters like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, the Joker are all very important to fans everywhere. So why would the studio choose to not bring to life a character who is important in the community, who is in need of proper representation? In this time, we're faced with a lot of temporary representation. Poor choices of taking mantles from white characters and giving it to non-white characters in order to kind of boost up sales, knowing that this won't last long. People deserve better. T'Challa deserves better. So that's why I urge everyone to continue the fight to have T'Challa recast. Keep up the hashtags, keep up the tweets, let them know that this is important. This isn't just another character in comic books. This is a very important character. So please, recast T'Challa.
Nerdy Girl Creates. Thank you so much to Kerry. And if you want to check out her channel, it is over here. Nerdy Girl Creates. She gets it. Go give her a sub just for that. The ally of the week. Because like I've done this segment before with other people, and some guys take it lightly. But that word, like some of that verbiage was word for word to what Nadia was trying to say to us. What, like, you can't just have the swaps and the hey, look, they're gonna be black for this iteration. Little Mermaid is another redhead. Check that out. And
Yes.
yanks. So now it's taken away from someone's representation. What it does for me that pisses me off is when people who are, with ill intentions, they get to go, yo, those blacks are replacing us. Look, and here's a list, and here's a list, and it's always temporary. Kerry gets that. Kerry also the way she begins women's representation. Here's Diana. I grew up in the 80s, she said when she began the video, talking about how that stuck with her. Same thing here. Like it's a physical identity that you can relate with, right? The skin tone of this character. He was great, and that was pulled. Damn, people get it, and you don't. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. It doesn't matter if you're red hair or black hair. recast T'Challa.
Yeah, I appreciated Halle being Ariel. I mean, as a person that has a daughter with locks, like, yeah, it was a beautiful thing. Did I think that they should have did that? No. For fucking what? They could have gave us a different mermaid. I'm sorry, I don't know if I could cuss. like,
We're
but
good.
like for but yeah, like why? Why? Y'all couldn't come up with another story about another mermaid that was similar to the Little Mermaid and not just re-give us the same movie that I fell asleep on?
Fatal J says that the nerdy girl is awesome. Yeah, well, that was a great video. Like I'm overwhelmed. I'm looking at it like, okay, I'm gonna get like a 30-second blurb. She really, and she even did all the edits and everything too. Think about how she could understand it, and like the producers didn't. They're just like, yeah, we can get rid of the Black Panther just like that, rather than a recast, rather than, and she's not taking it offensive as like Shuri now means that no freaking man better be here at all. You guys are trying to use black representation, huh? That's your way in. You just don't want Shuri. Just admit it, guys. You think that recasting is the best idea to get rid of Shuri? No, not really. Because I don't like the T'Child either. I don't like, hey, look, there's this boy that's living in Haiti. He's 6 years old, and one day he'll become the king. What? Mm,
You didn't like the plot twist?
what does that mean? If you're pro Shuri, if you're all that stuff about women's representation, girl power Shuri, that's the replacement right there. So even the studio wasn't
Yeah,
really behind Shuri either.
yeah. I feel like that the whole movie was centered, woman centered.
Queen Ramonda,
Yeah, I was about
Okoye.
to say Angela Bassett. Yes, yes,
We got
yeah.
Ironheart also, who was in it too.
hmm So like they were making it very woman forward, which I don't have a problem with, but I understand how people are like, this was not a Black Panther movie. It really wasn't because it was way too many main characters, if you ask me. Like,
It
I
was way
mean,
too many supporting characters. You mean?
no, main. It was like everybody was a main character, even the villain. Like he got a lot of screen time. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that he shouldn't have, but I'm just like, if you want to call him a villain, because I mean, what he just trying to protect his people?
Oh,
Like,
I thought you were gonna say because I like the way he came out the water. I thought you were gonna
oh
call him a
no,
villain.
nah. I'm not impressed by all that, but I mean, I see why people would be, but I'm just like, okay,
I hear
you
you.
work out, you work out, good.
Agree, male and female comic books. I am white. Love Black Panther. Patrick, that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Yes, a lot is Batman and Superman and Joker and Spider-Man. As Kerry was telling you, we have roles that have been recast. Even when Heath Ledger dies, we didn't say his role transcended this. This character. No one's been better. No more Joker. Mm-mm-mm. No, Joker had his own movie in 2019, and didn't he get an Oscar for that? He got an award for that.
Joaquin, yeah, I
Yeah,
think something
Joaquin
like that.
Phoenix. You got a movie and a sequel. Is that disrespectful to Heath Ledger? Because we were told Chadwick Boseman, right?
Right, you right.
So you're a woman. You watch Marvel. You're interested in this genre. What is the go-to route for your representation? Like, where is the black woman, like primary character? Which character is that? How does it need to play out? When will you be satisfied with the woman's representation that doesn't come at the expense of a male? How would you have it done?
That's a lot of problems to solve.
Yeah.
Um, First of all, if you not gonna take an existing character and also cast somebody that looks like that existing character and stop trying to, I don't understand that shit either. Like, why we changing people skin color and stuff? Like, if you are trying to represent this character, then why not find someone that represents this character in ethnicity and in physical appearance? But that's
because
another
they're
gripe I have.
because that's literally not what they're trying to do. This is on the Reimagine Tomorrow website. Do you see standard number 8 on screen representation? At Disney, these are their inclusion standards. Okay.
The fact that you even have to have that, like, that's
Yeah,
not common. That's not like common human knowledge to like, hey, like I don't let's just like in Friends, what who Like y'all want black people to watch Friends so bad when it's really a ripoff of Living Single, but that's another story. uh, but y'all want us to watch Friends so bad and think that it's funny, but like, what do you have that appeals to us? Y'all had people that were like guest appearances and shit like that, but still, like, y'all in the middle of New York, but where's the black people? Do black people not live in New York? Look at look at the background, look at the extras. Where's the black people? But
You see,
y'all want us to watch a show that we not even. I mean, granted, and the whole thing with like Lord of the Rings too. I mean, granted, people enjoyed it. Not now that a black person was in there at first, and now they want to add black people, and now they like, well, why they gotta be black?
see,
They
I look
ain't
at it
having
differently. Look, I'll look at it this way. I'll say, let friends be friends, cool, and then let Lord of the Rings also be Lord of the Rings, all white people, all white. Now, give the exact same amount of dollars you gave to that because you're a huge studio. You can afford to do 7, 8 movies a year. Give me the black version of Lord of the Rings, where it's all mystical, where you get the extremely good cast, $100 million budget. Do that instead of looking at it this in this new era of okay, we need to do Lord of the Rings, but we can't raise it. We need Harry Potter again because they're gonna do that again, and they're gonna make Hermione darker. They're trying to change things, and
Why are
then
they telling? First of all, stop telling us the same fucking story over and over again.
yeah,
If you want to give us inclusion, then give us new characters. Y'all can't come up with new characters.
because
Y'all
of
can't come up.
these
We're
charts. So
the
this
writers.
is here. This is it here. So Disney is not Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers is doing Harry Potter, but still, you can imagine it's
Yeah,
the same sort of stuff. Characters
I mean they got Harry Potter World at Disney, so I mean,
50%
or
or more.
Universal, whatever.
A1
Hmm.
characters 50% of more of regular reoccurring written characters come from underrepresented groups. You hear that? A regular and reoccurring written characters have to come from unrepresented groups. Let's keep going.
And then they let
50%
it be one at a time.
actors, 50% or more, obviously regular, reoccurring, underrepresented groups. I don't know why they have to separate characters from actors because there's kind of the same thing. But all right. This because
No,
if you're an
no, no,
actor,
no. Mm-mm,
if I'm an actor
mm-mm.
playing a character,
They let Johnny Depp play a Native American.
see, there's
But
rare
they couldn't
times.
go.
Maybe when it comes to voice actors, maybe like you might voice
No,
someone
he
who's
didn't.
different.
No. Why you said like
You may
voice
be
like
from a
you didn't see his
represented
face?
group. If I'm Johnny Depp and I'm from this represented group and I'm voicing somebody who's darker, that's what the difference is. I'm just saying.
Uh,
I'm voicing an
I don't care how
underrepresented.
much people like that character. They should have let somebody of that nationality, that ethnicity, or however you want to look at it, because
Okay,
that's hard.
it's pretty stupid. And then we go to secondary characters. Meaningful inclusion of underrepresented groups as secondary or minor on-screen individuals, including background actors. Who's asking for that? I never needed inclusion in my background actors. I don't think this way. Why is there like, okay, guys, your secondary characters better be pretty diverse? No. After the lead, I don't care. The movie Little Mermaid, they could have all white characters, which they did, right? The one with Halle Bailey. Everyone else was
Mm-mm.
white.
All of her sisters was a different ethnicity.
How much screen time did these background characters get? And how much did that
No,
push the movie forward? This was the Little
it
Mermaid
did
movie featuring
nothing.
Halle Bailey. The lead is what matters. So for them to think this way is very warped. This is their idea, and this is why we got what we got. Let's keep reading it. It says the next one, number 4. The series premise: meaningful integration of underrepresented groups in overall themes and narratives. Bro, if I'm watching Thor, that's an all-white cast. It's Asgard. It's based off of Norse mythology. Give me white.
Exactly.
Just make
I
sure that
don't expect.
I
I
I'm
don't
not
expect
looking
to
for
see
that, guys.
me.
I don't want.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to interfere in anyone's culture. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. But I'm saying, Disney, when you do that Thor movie, I hope next year there's also a black superhero movie with a happening in Africa, and like you can counter it. But to say each project itself needs to have these fulfillments isn't the solution that I think it is. And I cut you off, Nadia.
No, you're right. You're right. It's not what. Like I said, the fact that they have to have these guidelines is just wild to me. But like, I mean, I don't understand why people fight so hard for shit to just be. I don't know.
The fifth and the final one, because remember, every movie needs to have 3 out of these 5. The fifth one is episodic storytelling, ongoing, meaningful integration of underrepresented groups in the episodic themes and narrative. So one problem is that it says meaningful integration, and that's up for debate.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I'm like, what do you mean meaningful? Define, like, because it's just like, do you? I don't know, man. This. I don't even see how they. I'm starting to see how shit just slip through the boardrooms and just end up, and you just be like, how the hell they let this get they? Because ain't nobody in the boardrooms. If y'all can have some stuff and put it in there, like you can have some cultural stuff, but it's just like y'all just be putting it on there like salt and not paying attention. Like you just
They think they're doing enough. They think that, okay, we're good. We got this. As long as every project is following the background characters have to be meaningful, and the storyline and the overall theme needs to be black enough. Or not. They didn't say black. Let me read the words carefully. Underrepresented groups. Now, all I care about is your skin tone, is the melanin content level. I'm thinking about that. I have no interest in people's beliefs of religion. I don't care if everyone in the movie has a different faith, but everyone's white. Or orientation, I don't care about that stuff. Are women included in that? Like, because they're 50% of humankind. I don't want to say that they're underrepresented, but maybe they're part of that group. Why is black representation being interfered with these other things? Because it's just underrepresented groups is the criteria. And I feel like there's other guys who can say, hey, I practice this religion, so you better include me. It's got nothing to do with skin tone, because when you're playing a character, your character isn't practicing that religion. Your character is worshiping the panther god. Like it's so irrelevant. Handicapped people, that's underrepresented, isn't it? Or little midget people, I should say the word dwarfism. People are
little
dwarf.
people.
Little people.
They prefer little people.
They're underrepresented, aren't? And that sounds funny. Obviously, I'm not trying to be cute with it, but yeah, it's
No, but
underrepresented.
I get what you're saying. Like, okay, that's like in 13 Ghosts, I found out the dude that played the torso, the ghost that was like just in pieces.
Yeah.
He was actually an amputee, and I was like, thank
Oh.
you for using somebody that don't have legs, so you don't give us some little CGI stumps back there. Like, thank you. Like, why? That fits the criteria of, like, I mean, come on, give us shit like that. Like, and then like people in a wheelchair, like, why can't people that are in a wheelchair play people in a wheelchair in the movie instead of an able-bodied person? Because I've seen that happen. It's like, I don't know.
So while I'm for everyone getting their stuff on screen, the skin tone issue and the need for representation needs to be primary, and you need to think that through. Change your whole. I might do a whole video on this little thing that they've got on Disney's website. Change that. Get rid of all 5 of those criteria and just say, for one movie a year, there will be $100 million budget dedicated to a lead. Their skin tone will be dark as Nadia, not Chillmonger dark. Nadia's skin tone. It's got to be 70% melanin or higher. And the role or the duty of this main character will be aspirational. You do that, $100 million budget, those are your criteria. And I'll be happy if you guys can do that once a year. Because when you got criteria like this, you can go, okay, let's make it a best friend. Or, there's no rules against using white franchises like Cinderella. Brandy, shout out to you. But you playing Cinderella, it didn't
That
last.
whole movie, the thing about that movie that I love is we didn't question shit. Like, how does a white person and a black person make an Asian person? We didn't question that. We was just like, that's the prince, that's the queen, that's the king. Why the hell one of the stepsisters black? We didn't question it. We was just like, that's the stepsisters, and like it nobody's race was a question.
They only care about the green tone. This Disney chart is literally that short that Chillmonger made with the movie executives around the table. Well, that was an amazing short, and I'm gonna keep playing that. Thank white Jesus Chadwick Boseman died. A black character became way too popular. But aren't we gonna recast? Like white superheroes?
We'll run temporary representation. You get Shuri to become the Black Panther, she gains so much steam, here comes the Sun to become Black Panther. Teach the audience it's about the mantle. Wakanda. Wakanda forever. That's what we'll call it. And Bobby Ray makes sure a black character never becomes that popular again. Canceling live action Proud Family. Yes, but cast the actress as Ariel. Temporary representation. Sir, what's this temporary representation? Temporary representation, it's our playbook. So take a character like Cinderella, right? Now we reboot and cast a black actress, and we get all the credit for casting somebody black. But don't worry, everything returns to them being white again. Having them play white characters is much safer than actual darkies catching fire. We use black labor for white characters. And when there is a black lead, it's in limited capacities. T'Challa is the most positively impactful dark-skinned character in the history of cinema. Black representation's best representative. So you nixed him when you had the chance, replaced him with a female so anyone who opposed it could be labeled misogynist. They all say they want representation, but they keep falling for attendance. But they'll consider a white property black just because of the actor who's temporarily playing her? Exactly. Just gotta say, every girl can see herself as Ariel. The Little Mermaid transcends race. Now you can be a princess. We had a black princess. And she was a frog for half of the movie. That's temporary representation. We flipped her just like we flipped Jamie Foxx's character into a ghost. Soul, whatever. Actually, the best was when we got Will Smith. You remember, he was the genie. You liked that one. I was happier than David Duke at a hockey game. And since it's a voice actor and since it was a white guy initially, we're really not attached to casting somebody black again. Same thing with like The Lion King. Even if they're being played by somebody black, it now stops and ceases the introduction of new black characters. Everybody in Lion King is gonna be back to white, except for Rafiki's voice actor. You know why. Wait, so Ahsoka's voice actress, she's white. Did you only cast a black lead because her face would be painted? That's why they're called people of color. Characters are immortal, the actors aren't. We'll just get somebody white back to play the white characters. We maintain minimum melanin, and we get to cast black actors, and we please the people who that fools. It's racism repellent. And racist. Every black character has a built-in exit plan. You think Little Mermaid's staying black? Go to Disney World right now, see who's greeting your kids. It's white. Ariel will be white again, just like MJ will be white again. And it's only ever temporary representation. What about the media? We own the media. You didn't see those TikToks of the girls watching the trailers? But black media. You just give black media some free shit, they always conform. If that works, do you know how many fucking coons will sell themselves for a fruit basket? I don't know, black Twitter could be really woke some. Stop using woke in its correct context. But no, nigger Twitter will be too distracted with all the irrationally upset white people. They'll see that their enemy is angry, making them happy, and they'll be participants in their own oppression. I want black white mermaids, black white mothers, black white mutants, black white villains, black white heroes. We're gonna make all black representation temporary. White people, white people, white people, white people, black people, white.
It is ladies' night. I got only girls coming. I think once you look at those criteria, you can see why they said, well, there's no problem here. We don't have a representation issue because T'Challa's not going to be in the movie because we still hit everything. We get check. We got it. That's the check mark there.
I feel like I said, I don't feel like they should have recasted him for the second movie, but to end on this is his child and this is going to be the king. I mean, so I was like, okay, so is that where we going? Like, I was just like, okay.
I think it was like to make people who are saying recast T'Challa happy, but as someone who's saying recast T'Challa, no,
well,
I didn't say.
How would you want them to do it then? Like I mean, as far as storyline, how
recast.
would you want them to do it?
So before the movie comes out,
you wanted them to just be like, no, there's no death. This is just him, and this is a continuation. You wanted a continuation. No, we not. Okay, I get what you're saying.
And they could have took time. They could. It wasn't necessary for me to get the movie in 2022 because he dies in 2020 in August. Let's sit on that. The main actor of your movie franchise just died. You already wrote the script and finished it and everything, right? And even Chadwick was contributing to the script and it was already completed. So if you really wanted to do what he wanted to do, and you would be honoring Chadwick if you went with the script that he helped make. Anyways, he dies in 2020.
And that's why I come in with it when I say that was rusty. Yeah.
They
Like
rushed
to
it
me,
out.
it felt like it's been rushed. But go ahead. I'm
Guys,
sorry.
your main actor just died. Let's chill. Let's think about how to move. Let's deal with the grieving process. Let's postpone something a year, maybe even 2 years, and let's make sure that, like, so what we're in year 2024 right now, right? Chadwick had died in
Hmm
2020. Everyone think about how you feel about Chadwick's death. Think about it. How sad are you about it? And then just think about how important that great character is, where they make comic books about him and ultimate comic books about him. Like, look at him sitting on the throne. This T'Challa, this entity, right, is
hmm
worthy of remaining on screen. It didn't have to happen right away. We could have T'Challa appear on a TV show, kind of in between, to kind of, I don't know, like it can be squeezed in there instead of the instant shock of a new guy's playing Black Panther T'Challa. There's ways to get it,
hmm
and by killing the character the same way he died, he just had a mysterious death that no one else could figure it out, and then everyone was surprised that he died.
hmm
Matching Chadwick's death, that's not what he said he wanted. That's not what his brother said he would have wanted. Everyone knows that this character needed to continue, except people who
And
worked at Marvel Studios.
and the way that the actors were actually mourning in the movie, that's why I was like, I feel bad for them to even to have to go on and do a funeral session for one of their fellow actors. Like it just, to me, it was bonkers. I was like, why? What are we doing? And that's why I was like, where are they going with this? It took me a while to actually watch it. I waited till it came out on streaming because I was like, I didn't. Mm-mm. I was just like, it was too soon. So to
Thank you.
me, they could have took their time because it was way too soon. And I feel like no matter if they would have recast him, we would have not. As long as the person lived up to what we picture as T'Challa, then I don't think anybody would have cared. Especially if you would have gave us time to grieve it. You know what I mean? They gave nobody time to grieve. Not even the actors. Not even his friend. You know what I mean? These are people that worked with this man, and now you asking them to make this movie without him and actually grieve him on set. You know what I mean? Like, because they were having scenes where they're crying, and I'm like, that's not fake. That's really them grieving this man, not just T'Challa. They was grieving Chadwick, and I was like, this is sad. Like, I don't want to see this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just being honest, because like it made me feel, because I'm like, this ain't acting. This is them actually grieving. Like,
Let me take you to when the trailer was being introduced at Comic-Con.
The trailer for Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
You see how everyone is standing right here? This is the cast. To the right is some of the new guys. So he wasn't part of the first movie, or her, or her, or her, or her. But these five were.
you could tell by their body language.
You could tell by their body language. Now watch this. The trailer comes out. They just played the complete trailer. Look at Letitia's face. Look at Lupita Nyong'o and her face, and how she's like, let me keep a straight face here. Nah, these actors had to live through the emotional "no woman, no cry." Like, look at their faces. I'll play it.
Right.
Let me show you what we. Not to mention, when they were filming this, so they filmed it maybe a year after Chadwick died. The movie comes out 2 years after, but a year after he died. Hey, look into that camera over there, and tell your friends about how you missed him. Like, every single line they made about T'Challa was, kind of also to Chadwick. They call it cathartic. I call it exploitative. Let's watch.
Yes.
Do they look happy?
No, and like that hurts. It hurts to see that, because that's real emotion. Yes, that was very exploitative.
Yo,
And
there's two group hugs. I never noticed these three. Like they're like, yeah, we're in a new franchise. Look at us.
Right. No,
These guys are morbid.
yes, that's two different emotions. That's a we grieving our friend. That's a
Yeah.
we made it.
And I see Kevin Feige scooting in here, and I think he's like, he's got his little fake smile because we're supposed to be happy, but now look at the emotional trauma your decision put them through, bro. They are all.
Look, yeah, you see the
He think he's
smiles,
slick.
and that's
No. He thinks he's slick. He's just standing
oh
in
yeah, he
front of
covering
all
them
the.
up.
Yeah.
It's like pan over, pan over. We don't. He was slick for wearing sunglasses.
That's the show, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you very, 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 very much.
Yo, Letitia is not okay.
I look
She's
forward
not.
to seeing you next year. Thank you.
But like these guys had a relationship with the man. Of course, they were gonna feel a certain way about it, and that's got nothing. See, that has nothing to do with women, Shuri representation. People hate. This is real emotions that were utilized to sell a movie. A death that was utilized to sell a movie.
Hmm.
We all see it. Like, don't matter what your sex is.
It makes me wonder how much of his image that they own. You know what I mean? Because like him in the suit, does Disney own that image, or is that just what up? or you know what I mean? Because like
Anything
the
he
way
did,
they.
if they took a body scan, any sort of scene that he used from the
Hmm.
first movie, they can take a screenshot of that scene and they can say, "Hey, it's a photo of T'Challa," which we own T'Challa. So they can do anything they want to do, really. Pam Entertainment TV. We were just going over this scene here at Comic-Con where they play the trailer for the first time. Now, if you remember that trailer and how sad and the no woman, no cry, let me play it. You're gonna look at all of these guys' faces change in about 5 seconds. There. They just saw the trailer. Letitia Wright is bawling her eyes out. Denai Guerrera can't stand it. Ryan Coogler's standing, and I guess he's blocking the camera from all the sadness, but there's nothing you can do but just be sad. Kevin Feige's out here clapping. He's not speaking, but he's getting in their ears and clapping his hands. Hey guys, this is a celebration, right? Yeah, chin up. You can see what they had to go through when they did a whole movie about how their boy died, and then they played the trailer with the slow music and everything. These actors are victims of the same thing, of something else. It's not the same thing, but they are victims as well. I want to recognize that. I'd love for them to have spoken up and said, no, we got to recast, but still, they had to go through something too. And it's not just the studio making fans unhappy. It was the actors.
They're just look. They look like they sad because they're about to lose their job. You don't see Riri, the girl that's playing Riri Williams, upset because she's got iron around the back.
So, yeah, most of the fan base would have gone with whoever they spin the MCU provided. Set the story during the blip and the post credit. Yeah, I would have had the whole story during that blip. 5 years. Yep.
That's what I thought they were going to do. I honestly thought all of this was going to be set right around the blip, and then everything was going to just kind of I don't know. That's what I thought. But just to go to a movie to see two funerals was just too much for me.
If going to see a movie with two funerals was too much for you, what would have been your best case scenario?
My best case scenario is that he would have gotten off that battlefield in Endgame and went home, and then they would have started from there. Shuri had blipped as well, didn't she? Didn't she blip?
She did, yes, but they could have undone that.
Well, they could have done a Wakanda Forever about what they went through when their king was blipped, and how they stood strong. They didn't have to put Namor in there, but how they stood strong through somebody trying to get through their borders again, or something like that, or bring in a character or a villain that's true to Black Panther, and they could have shown how they stuck together for their king, and then their king walks in to say, Wakanda Forever.
Now, as a woman, they decided to take a movie where the lead was a woman, Shuri. So Letitia Wright plays the character who's in charge. Letitia Wright gets the powers of Black Panther. Were you inspired? Was that aspiration that was needed? Like, how did you take that moment?
I think it was cheap for her and her character, only because we did not get to see we have not seen this. We have not seen T'Challa be the king of Wakanda. We have not seen Shuri really, really do her thing. How wonderful it would have been if we had seen T'Challa being king and us seeing him be king and go through some things, besides him coming off the death of his father, like, hey, he's 5 years after the blip. This is how his kingdom is looking. This is how things are going because now people are aware of Wakanda. These are the issues and the problems that he goes through now because he's trying to make things different for his people. But there's some political and social things that are going on that they don't want to have that. And how beautiful it would have been for Shuri and Riri Williams to have formed a bond, a kinship, or whatever, without somebody trying to kill them, and all the wonderful things in tech that they would have come that would have rivaled Tony Stark or anything like that. There's just so much pure story that they could have done besides us going to two funerals.
So
Two funerals and a child.
Letitia Wright was the Black Panther. She played the character. She killed it. I said recast T'Challa. Do you think that me saying T'Challa should be recast is a form of sexism, of some sort of attack on women, that I'm not progressive, that I want you back in the kitchen? How did you interpret the first time you heard people saying to recast when the movie was coming out?
How I and that they recasted. Well, they
The cries for recast before the movie came out. Did you perceive that as, oh, that's the anti-women crew? Oh, that's a misogynist message?
No, because I think the thing that people miss, I think when you get caught up in that, and I've talked to you all about gender wars and how to get caught up in that. The thing that happens is you're so busy fighting with each other as grown folks, you're not looking at the children. And the biggest example that I can give you is my nephew. When Black Panther came out and Black Panther was doing all this, my nephew was very excited. He had the Black Panther thing. He was doing the Wakanda Forever. And then, sadly, Chadwick Boseman passed away. That's nothing, but that should not have stopped that character, because that character was literally stopped in his tracks. Because I took him to the first one, but I didn't take him to the second one because I knew it was going to be, I really didn't know it was. I knew that it was going to be something, but I didn't realize it was going to be what it was. And I'm so glad that I did not take my nephew to that, because he don't need to be sitting between two funerals. But what inevitably happened is, because of the lack of buzz about them recasting and getting a new Black Panther or anything like that, he just the character in his mind just kind of faded away. And now he's back to his Spider-Man. He's back to his Spider-Man character.
It didn't go to Shuri.
No, he didn't. And it didn't have anything to do with that. It's just that it was all hyped up that Chadwick Boseman was the Black Panther. And it didn't have anything to do with that. He saw himself in T'Challa. He saw him, young Black boy. You see this Black man, the last scene of Black Panther when when the kids saw the spaceship, the ship that they traveled on, and his eyes was all bewildered. That was my nephew. That's what his eyes. He was like, yeah, and they're going to be making all this stuff. And he had already kind of anticipated. And yeah, they're going to be flying in spaceships. Everybody's going to be flying on T, and we're going to do this. And then, it comes around and we're not going to recast. And then it was just like, well, he just kind of lost interest. And, now he's back to, he's on his Spider-Man kit.
It's so interesting that you guys are both talking about the boys who see themselves, who had some sort of like great representative. Because I'm trying to steer you. I'm asking the question. I guess I'm not controlling what you're going to say, but I'm looking at it from more of a, all right, guys, tell us about women, talk women. And you're more so like looking at it as as what it is. This is a boy this is a male, an adult male, and he's aspirational to boys. He looks like that. And it's interesting to me, like, you get it, and I get it. It's the same thing.
What they can do is start with some of the women that they already have. So why do when they talk about Storm, they either talk about her being in the X-Men or then her marrying T'Challa. And I'm just like, okay, well, I mean, can we get that? Or like, can we do more with Storm? What else did Storm do? Because y'all just make her a side character in X-Men, but then so she was ruling Wakanda at one point in time. Where we going? Can we get to that? So why
it bothers me to my core when I hear folk talk about, oh well, this black man died, this character is going to die, and then we're going to replace this with a we're going to place this character with a woman. I'm very clear on that. Men and women are not interchangeable. Men have their purpose, women have their purpose. But when we sit here and we are not conscious of the fact of what we're saying and what is being seen, we can't sit here in a whole nother element and be mad when you see, and I'm just going to put it here. We can't sit here and be mad at this element when you see other men beating on black women. But we promote the thing of, well, black men and black women are interchangeable. We're not. And that's that thing about Storm. That is such a great black character. You need to expound on her. And then those people that are talking about women empowerment and women thing, you can see yourself in
She's
Storm.
right there. Show me how you perform with that character. Who is lead worthy? If I read a comic
Exactly.
book right now where Storm is on the pages, it's an X-Men comic, but Storm is on more of the pages than some of the other mutant characters. I'm gonna say, yeah, that's normal. That's Storm. That's her role. She is worthy of this. If I read a Black Panther and I see more of his sister than I see of him, I'm gonna go, huh, that's weird. They kind of are doing something different. Maybe he'll be back in the next issue. He'll be more prominent. Like I think that way, and I guess you guys do too. You want Storm. Show me Storm. Show me what you got with Storm. Everyone, recast T'Challa. Will all support a Storm-led film. Are you kidding me? Aurora Monroe with her own film.
Exactly.
That's the same. This is the same battle. It's about representation, and she is the highest priority. If we're talking about on the female side, yeah, more than Monica Rambeau, more than who's another? No, it's really that's it. Have we seen another hero in Marvel? Okoye, I guess maybe. It's really Storm.
I'm quite sure that there is some uh, obscure, real minuscule black woman character in the Marvel cinematic, well, in Marvel comics that we probably don't know hill or beans about. That would be a great opportunity for you to pull that obscure character, put a storyline behind that character, and move. I'm quite sure that there are. I just don't understand the killing off a character because the actor who played the character died. And it doesn't even make sense. It's so hypocritical now that everybody else can get recasted, but that character can't get recasted. And you cannot come with some logical argument as to why.
We sure didn't blink when they recasted War Machine, man.
No, that was funny. Good one. I'm just saying recast T'Challa. I'm gonna keep saying recast T'Challa. I'm not really considering what sensitive people who think that I'm saying I'm anti-women are considering. I look at it more so like that kid is the competition because yeah, Shuri already has her built-in exit strategy for that child who they're gonna pass off as T'Challa, and I'm trying to neglect the existence of that kid as a T'Challa replacement. To child neglect.
Now you see the implication, see what you've said. Now you're saying that a child is going to replace a man. I'm just showing you what we're saying without saying it, and then we can recognize it when somebody else outside of our community says it. But we act like we can't
Ooh,
recognize it when we're talking about it without in our community because everybody was like, no, we have to mourn Chadwick, and then Shuri can take the mantle. What does Chadwick have to do with T'Challa? I know that Chadwick played T'Challa, but why is T'Challa, who technically has been around way before Mr. Boseman was conceived? So why are we reversing these types of roles? And it's not for
because
us. It's not for
they
us. It's for the people behind us, for the baby. I'm like Monique now. It's for the
they
babies.
they doing exactly what happens in a black household when you take the man out. Who has to step up? The woman. And now the boy that is the child has to step up and be the man of the house. Cause now he got responsibilities at 6 years old. Cause you know, ain't no man.
He's
Like damn, they just go play in our face like this.
yes, exactly.
I'm
Look
gonna
at the
show
t-
you a tweet. Keep using the hashtag recast T'Challa like the way Buckmeister Cool uses it all the time. In this, it says, "Happy Black History Month. Out of respect for Chadwick Boseman and his irreplaceable performance as King T'Challa, Disney Plus has scrubbed him from the navigation screens. Mind you, this is the first Black Panther film. This isn't for Wakanda Forever. When you look at the thumbnail, you see, or the the navigation screen, what pops up is Shuri in the Black Panther movie as women. And, oh, actually, let me read Buckmeister. He says to us, seriously now, even diminishing T'Challa's role in the first movie, Shuri should not be on the banner for Black Panther 1 recast T'Challa. Is he being sexist in the deal? Is it okay that I retweeted and I liked it? Is that cool?
I don't know when people just be like, "Is that sexist?" I'm like, I mean, if you want to make it sexist, you can argue points, but to me, inherently, I don't think that was his intention. So, like, I read more from what I feel your intention is, but then also like, if I have any confusion, I'm gonna ask a question. But I'm not gonna blatantly accuse somebody of some shit because I mean I'm not that type of human being to just be like, "You're this because of this," and this. Like, chill, chill. Like, if I don't understand something, I'm gonna ask a question so I can get clarity. But
That's what I
based
just
off
did
what
with
he's
you.
saying, based off what he's saying, I'm just like, damn, that is kind of weird that they put Black Panther, but they got the picture for Black Panther Forever instead of. And then, and it's sad because I did see that spike with the young boys. They like, we got a hero, and then he died, and it's just like they literally killed the character with the man. Like, yeah, I don't understand why he couldn't. Like, I don't know. I felt like that Disney felt like they was doing us a favor. Like, no, he's irreplaceable, and it's like, nah, he ain't. I mean, he did an awesome job, and it was great. But like, can we keep this character going on? We were so hyped to see the stories. Like I said, it took me forever to watch the second one because I was just like, I wasn't feeling it. I was like, these people are mourning. I don't want to see these people mourn. I had to be alright with myself to be able to watch it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So they
Can
could have gave us all some time.
Can you imagine going to the theater? And where I was at, I was going to the theater, and there were people literally dressed to go to this funeral. They kind of figured that that's
Mhm.
what was happening, and they dressed up. And I had my recast
Yes.
and they were just looking. It's like and I saw one lady. She kind of looked at me, and I looked back at her, waved, and she was like she's not. No, I'm not taking part of that. That's
It
my
was
movie,
all exploitation.
and
It was all exploitation of all of us.
it was performative. Because if you really felt this way about this man, there should have been, as I understand that we were locked down, but baby, everybody was getting on here doing something online. You could have done a complete fan based memorial service online on Zoom, here on StreamYard, or something like that. You could have done something like that if the man, Chadwick Boseman, was the big concern of yours, but it wasn't. All of this
Hmm.
is informative because it didn't
We
make
got
any sense. I couldn't even understand when the cast was like, "Oh, we didn't have." Why is it? Why couldn't you all have gotten together on a Zoom meeting and talked to each other and gone over some things and decided to social distance to a place and put a reef down or something like that, 6 feet behind each other? It's all performative to me. It just seemed very performative to me, and I don't understand it. I
Isn't
just
it?
don't.
Let me read some of these here. He says, I blinked, recast Rhodey. I gave him the side eye too. Shut up. Hey, check out my video that I did just before this one. I live streamed about the Ultimate Black Panther comic if you're looking for something. And then Raptor says, T'Challa the King is black representation. TJ, the bastard son, is a walking black stereotype that insults Chadwick's memory. Yeah, I'm with you. Look, when people say recast T'Challa on Twitter, I see this image from this comic book associated with it all the time in the recast T'Challa tweets. It's Shuri being right there, right next to her brother. How awesome is this visual, and how cool would it have been for it to be in the movie? No one is opposed. No one I speak to or I've ever invited
That
is
would have been cool.
angry. Huh?
Do you want somebody to be angry?
Well, is angry that Shuri might be lifted up or elevated. Whoa, As long as Black Panther is there, T'Challa is there, elevate Shuri Okoye, Wakabi, Mbaku, elevate everybody. Yeah, he should be so popular that they should have a Black Panther movie. The next year is a Shuri movie, and they can alternate and take turns. Every 3 years, we get a new one, whether it's him or her. Why can't we
Exactly.
have more? I'm
It
not
would
opposed to
have
Shuri's
both together.
elevation.
It would have been dope to see both of them together, like like that. But
Because that could have been a twist that they needed to team up. Like maybe she needed to go save him. So she,
yeah,
I don't know. They just
You
yeah.
know, she gets powers in like 2015, 16. She is returned. She like after her death because she was the Black Panther. She died to the end. You know, she tried to save Wakanda. She returns. She has unique powers where she got like enhanced strength and she can like speak to the ancestors. It's like it's a lot. That's a character arc. You know, so I hope that they go through that route. Wesley Snipes will forever be the best black comic book character in live action. But is he a role model the same way that the Black Panther is? Not really.
Hell no. That's because he's a rated R character. You can't make a rated R character a role model. Like, but bro, what? That's like I'm so glad I'm glad Blade keep getting pushed back because if you give me a PG-13 Blade, I need blood. I need the whole vampire experience. Like, don't give me no stupidness.
so after this.
Black Panther.
No, Blade is not a role model. Hell no. But
The
Black Panther is.
let me only cover my face. It says Black Panther, the first one was such a phenomenal experience. Movie fans would have felt that Disney was being disrespectful if they had recast. The movie fans are bigger than the comic fans. The movie fans could get over it. The movie fans could
They would have got over it.
embrace a character. Movie fans watch James Bond. Movie fans watch a lot of others who get recast, and I don't
They
care
said
how much they link an actor to the role. I recognize the importance of this character, fictional or not. The aspirational character is needed for the community of people who look like him, and then it's needed for all the other ethnicities to humanize with the character who's got skin that dark and not think of him as a person out of jail or a ratchet or a what else is there? All the stereotypes, name them. This was not that, and he was the most popular character ever with that skin, with melanin in their skin. You don't get rid of that because the movie audience will feel a way about it. You can break it to them slowly. You can put T'Challa in a TV show and you can have him on the trailers. Of course, a movie comes out. The trailer and the promotion starts 4 or 5 months before the movie's out. People will have warmed up by the time it gets to the movie aspect of it for the recast. Hey, it's not just me, Pam, and Nadia. We're also joined by Rhea. Hello, Rhea.
Good evening. Hello.
What
Yep.
up?
Nice to meet y'all.
Rhea, the focus of today was girls. It's ladies' night. It's the recast T'Challa stream, and I want to know your take on the recast T'Challa hashtag. Actually, I'll just ask generally, and then I'll more specify it later on because I don't want to lead you guys into saying the answer I want. What is your opinion of the hashtag of recast T'Challa and the things that I've say on my channel?
Yeah, it's kind of changed over the last couple years. Like originally, I was one of those folks who was in high reverence of Chadwick Boseman and sort of like putting his memory on a pillar. Like I was in that camp a little bit, but the more I started to listen to folks like you and uh, Widow and K Dots and other folks, really, you know, emphasizing the significance of Black Panther as more than just, the on screen uh, actor who portrayed him once or a few times. Um, like that made more sense to me. Whereas um, putting Black Panther on the shelf just because the first actor to portray him on screen unfortunately passed away doesn't really make sense now, all things considered. So I will admit, like my opinion has changed.
But it wasn't Widow. It wasn't Kate. It was me, wasn't it?
You were definitely one of like the first people who was like very, very vocal about it. So you kind of put that seed of doubt in my head, and I started to, open my mind a little bit more. Like, although, I felt, emotionally distraught over, the loss of this amazing actor.
Right.
It's that is not related to the importance of continuing to see more on-screen representation of Black Panther as a character.
What are your guys' take on that, Nadia?
I just always thought they should have waited and put some time in between the movies so that people could get used to a new person playing him. That's it.
Do you think
So
your mind could have ever changed the same way Rhea's mind changed, where she was like, convinced and swayed?
I always thought that they were going to recast him anyway. I just wanted them to give people time. That's what I was like. I don't care either way, but if y'all gonna do it, give people time. That's all I wanted was just time.
Okay. Pam, do you have anything to say about Rhea? Because I got another question lined up for her.
No, no. I
Okay.
think that's an honest feedback from that. I mean, because everyone was very much about Chadwick, and then when you start going back and forth and like, wait a minute, it's the character. We more in Chadwick, but it's the character. I think once you start realizing that, we start realizing that we've lost something.
So the next question I'll throw out to you is, did you perceive recast T'Challa? So not just including me, everyone who's doing it. Did you ever see them as a hateful against Shuri, against women, a hateful group that was more so, we can't have another woman coming in here, because they do exist? But did you perceive recast T'Challa that way, Rhea?
No, I didn't. I never saw that as my own personal reason why there was pushback. I understood from the get-go that folks saw Black Panther as needing to carry on legacy on screen in the same way. I think you might have raised this example that there's been numerous actors who've portrayed Bruce Wayne and Batman on screen, and we don't, have any issue with that. But the um, the legacy of Black Panther is contingent to the memory of Chad Boswick for a lot of people. So that was probably like the biggest like case example. I'm like, oh man, like, an enlightening moment right there. I was like, you're right. So that was like, why I never really aligned it to the negative feedback around Shuri potentially taking the mantle, because another thought that comes to my mind too is canonically that does occur. So people were pointing to source material where
Sure.
for a period of time where that happened too. So it would make sense in the narrative over time. But I think a point of contention for some people was, oh, it's a cop out, to do it so early on in the legacy or the on-screen legacy of Black Panther. Like instead of just pivoting to that option and leaning on canonical reference as a cop out, like instead, step up to the plate and acknowledge that Black Panther as a character needs to live on no matter who the actor is.
Just as there's been other Black Panthers, many people have been Superman, dressed as Superman, and they went on and they had their little, I don't know, 6-7 month run until the writer gets tired and uses regular Superman again. We've had multiple people become Spider-Man, quote unquote, and it's okay for those things to happen in a comic book. But after the second movie, or I mean, rather after the first movie of Black Panther, that's not the time where we can get experimental. Like, we ran out of ideas and we got to do other people. And to the woman aspect, this is Ms. BC Justice. She used the hashtag recast T'Challa right over here. She says, "Happy Black History Month, recast T'Challa, the son of King T'Chaka," she says, with the little thing that she's celebrating here. The women, from my experience, women who I've interacted with, enough of them have been doing a good enough job of not associating the misogyny. But if you're introduced to the hashtag and all you know is recast T'Challa, and the person who's using the hashtag says, "What a sexist hashtag," then you are trying to damage and misrepresent this entire community of people who are fans. You're trying to misrepresent fans who want this great representation, and I'm super against it. I got 3 women on here today. I was trying to get Widow also, but she has commitments and she said she'll come on the weekend. But I tried. I got my women here to support me, and at least we can all say that Recast T'Challa was never ever a misogynist or sexist or negative or a message that was a little bit slick trying to take a shot at women. We can all agree on that publicly on this live stream.
Do
Okay.
you want opposition?
Dog, I kind of do. I'm gonna have to do a 1 week where it's just
You're not
all
gonna
haters.
I'm about to say you're not gonna find it on here. You're gonna have to go on TikTok live and just have like a board of things and hashtag recast T'Challa and just let people come up and say if they want to, say if they agree, disagree. And like yo, people spend hours. People don't sleep. They literally argue with people on TikTok live. Like they don't go to sleep. They just argue with people on TikTok live. It's interesting. There's some good. There's some good. There's some bad. Like seriously,
I don't use TikTok enough. I'm gonna go on
don't
TikTok,
either.
Killmonger with 3 R's, and I'm gonna find one of these anti-recast. I'm gonna have a little debate with them. I'll record it and I'll bring it here on YouTube also. Look out for that. I think we're about done here. I don't like to go longer than 1 hour. Rhea, you just popped on though. So is there something like related to recast that you would want to like give us that we haven't spoken on yet?
Yeah, I'm not sure if y'all covered the 2 shows centered around Wakanda for the the grander universe of characters that we've come to know and love. A lot of those characters are female, and I'm excited to see how they shine. And that I don't want to discount Shuri as a capable uh, leading female character as well. But again, I do agree that there should be a T'Challa presence cinematically, even if whatever actor they consider replacing Boseman with is not represented on the small screen. I hope they consider down the road to elevate him. So I agree with Nadia to a large extent that like give folks time to grieve, but don't project the actor's higher level of grief because of their connection to the original actor. Don't assume that everyone shares that same level of mourning. And I think that was another point of contention too, where people were using their you know their argument of like we're still in mourning as a way to legitimize Shuri, coming into the front of the fold, which I don't agree with either. So that's a lot of assumption on my end as far as like digging into the intention of or the ulterior motives of folks, leaning on one fact in order to push one, correlating, fact. Whereas like for me personally, from my own perspective, I never really saw any sort of misogyny or sexism again, like, suggesting that Shuri should not be the next Black Panther and that there should be a true representation of T'Challa on screen.
Right.
And yeah, that's about it. I don't see it as misogynistic. Sorry, I don't see it as sexist, basically.
You're like that? That's less letters.
Yes, yeah, sorry, I stumbled a bit. I wanted to try and like come up with a summary of how I feel about it.
I know, and I've talked to you before, but here's the thing that you may face pushback with what I'm going to say next to you. So, Eyes of Wakanda is a Disney Plus series, and the other one is Midnight Angels, following Okoye and some of the Dora. Is it sexist? And I do mean this when I say it. I don't want to support those shows and give it attention. I think that the franchise, the Eyes of Wakanda, the Midnight Angels, until you do right with the primary character of that, I'm not going to pay for and magnify other characters, because all I see is your message. Disney's message is take these guys instead. This franchise can live on without him. You see, you guys enjoy him, enjoy her, or her and her. Enjoy them. We don't need T'Challa. I'm going to say no. I'm going to push back to that. You guys can call that misogynist. You guys can say that, or you can think that, or you can assume that. I'm not for a woman being elevated, But the reason I'm not for these women being elevated is because it will then be used as, you see how unimportant this main character is. So I can't support those things. Like, my dollars can't go to that. My dollars can go to Blade. My dollars can go to Storm. If they did a Photon movie with Monica, I'll give my dollars there. I'll have to. It's what I stand for here. It's what I do a lot of, talking about how representation is important. So when I see $200 million given to a character like that, I got to check it out. But for something within Black Panther, nah. Pam, does that make you look at me sideways?
It makes you look bad, real bad. But I'm just kidding. No, again, we have to. It's the maturity factor of it all. People want to see people that look like them, and I have no issue and problem with Shuri. I want to see Shuri thrive. I'd like to see her kick tail. I want to see her uh, use her mind and build all these little different things, hook up with Riri and do all of those different things. And that's for me is fine. But also for you, being a black man, you want to see another black man in there and in a position of uh, self awareness, self empowerment, and in power, outside of any other types of it was sexy to know that King T'Challa was there. He's there and he runs this country, and there's no outside influences, and these are how people. That's great. That's almost that's sexy, and I don't think it's a problem wanting to see that on screen. As a woman, I want to see that on screen too.
Yeah.
I do. I'm okay with Shiri. I do like to see that. I want to see her thrive, but not at the expense or the eradication of a, her brother, a black man.
Which is what I see it would be if I were to support any of these Wakanda shows. What's going on, Anzo? Hey, three things. Let me start with. So I'll show this eventually because they just posted this 47 seconds ago under the hashtag recast T'Challa. And as you guys talk, I'm always on the hashtag refreshing, like looking for new fresh stuff. It's you said something about black male representation. Look at it this way: if, for example, in the '60s they created a character and it was Shuri, right? And Shuri was the Black Panther, always was the Black Panther, and she became what happened in 2018 with that movie. And for some reason, if Letitia Wright died and they said Chadwick needs to be elevated, I would be against that. I would say don't take away this lead character. I'm focused more on black than I am on the male female thing. I'm just like, yes, recast Shuri. I would be so recast Shuri if that's who was created in the 60s and the most important black character ever. It really isn't about seeing myself. It's just black representation. Now to Rhea, I said that I don't want to see their Eyes of Wakanda. I don't want to see Midnight's Angels. I don't want to see these Wakandan TV shows. I'm against them. How do you feel about that? Because you want it. You want these characters to be successful, and I see them success as a threat.
Yeah, the more that I think about, again, the legacy of this character and what it means to folks who have grown up, admiring, the impact of seeing this figure in power that just, encompasses the resilience and uh, the impact and the uh, the sheer strength of will to defy the odds of what the world has known as, like, the African diaspora, something that is just such an anomaly, like such an
You're just using
like
big words, diaspora, anomaly. I know you, Rhea.
I actually do use these words. I'm not trying to, be like a chat GPT spitting out, a prompt. I truly do feel that way. I'm just struggling to kind of map it out in words, but just, something just a character that represents just the highest pinnacle, of black excellence, just someone who encompasses positive masculinity. And I mean that in the sense of being emotionally intelligent and willing to accept the help of those around him, and with strong reverence and respect for the women around him. So things like that, those are so meaningful and significant that we can't just, forego it because the cinematic depiction of the character, the actor passed away. Like, that legacy is just too significant, to not to not continue. So on one hand, I do agree with you. You can't support the superfluous content of that mini universe because it's inherently disrespecting the significance of that character.
Yeah, and I'm only saying that because of what I've seen them trying to do. If they didn't try to kill T'Challa, if they didn't try to attack the character, then I wouldn't say this stuff to you guys. I would see it as like, great, more. I love more. Okay, last thing. Let's go react to what Planet Fanatics just posted. It's a minute 23 seconds. Let's watch it. And I have no idea what it is. It just he used it, and I like him, so we're gonna listen to him. And Corey.
D-Sizzle, even if Ryan brought T'Challa back, he's still a liability. The story would suck.
Oh, no. Make no mistake. Who said that?
D-Sizzle.
Oh, no. He has to be gone. In order for the Black Panther franchise to have life in the MCU, Letitia has to be gone. As much as I hate to even say this, Denai has to be. Everybody involved with the original making has to be gone because the attachment to Chad, and that your attachment to Chad is what's hindering you from doing your job.
Yeah,
and that's not me being insensitive. That's not me. But when you have a job to do, you got a motherfucking job to do. If I'm sick, if I have a job, a 9 to 5, my job is going to understand, okay, you're mourning, somebody died in your family, go home, mourn. But once that time of mourning is done, I go back to work, they're going to expect me to go back to work and do my motherfucking job. Why? Because bills are still due, people still got jobs to do, and that is how the world fucking works. It's no different if you're an actor or an actress. No fucking different.
Right.
So the same way that the cast and crew of Fast and Furious were able to still muddle through that film after doing as many films as they did with Paul Walker, and you spent 5 minutes with Chad, didn't even know he had cancer, miss me. Everyone has to go.
So he's not very patient with everyone when they're, well, we had to mourn all those excuses that the actors were giving during promoting Wakanda Forever. That Paul Walker bit is really impactful. Yeah, I'm convinced with the leader here, Planet Fanatics, was saying. Nadia, did you hear that? What did you think of him?
Yeah, I heard it. You can't put a time limit on how long someone has to mourn, but at the same time, Disney should have fucking waited. Period. Point blank. Period. Disney rushed this. I blame Disney.
Let's see if we can
the
agree.
rush to make money.
All right, we should have waited. I think we can all agree on that one. Pam, is what he's saying though pretty, spot on?
Absolutely. And here's
what
why.
He gonna have to get rid of everybody?
That was an interesting set. I pointed at that because I was like, wow, that's an interesting take, because all those people have ties and all those things have tied to Chadwick, not necessarily T'Challa, and not necessarily their job either. Why are y'all trying to keep yourselves? But anyway, that was a great point. At some point, that's why I thought that they would wait later. I was thinking, when did Wakanda Forever come out? 2022?
Yes.
I would have loved for Wakanda Forever to come out in 2023, 2024, to give them time to find somebody else, give them the time to sit down, because I still want to know what that story that Ryan Coogler had before he found out that Chadwick Boseman had passed. Did he not have it? He had a whole different script.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast where they revealed that, yes, the whole script was finished 2 weeks before Chadwick died. Ryan called him up and says, hey, read it, check it out. What do you think? It's finally done. So it was done. It was completed. And there was going to be a child in there, except T'Challa, the father, would still be around, and he'd be like, hey, you're new here. I never met you because I got blipped. I missed 5 years of your life. Let's do a story about fatherhood. That's what I was supposed to be. I would have waited. What Nadia said? What? Why
they took away a black fatherhood. They took the father from us and took the fatherhood story and gave us a black struggle of now women gotta run this, and now the baby gonna have to take up the mantle and have all this pressure put on them at 6.
But you got represented. Remember that chart we put up there? All 5 out of 5.
That's not what we want represent. When they gonna start asking us what we want represented instead of giving us what they think we want? Because we was cool with Haley Hallie. We was cool with Hallie, but like, bruh, we didn't ask for that. That's
I
not
get it.
what we asked for. If we wanted a black mermaid, you could have gave us a black mermaid from another story that you made up out of nowhere.
She could have been in the same movie with Ariel. They could have been swimming, passing each other. Hey, I like your hair. I like your hair. Cool. And then they swim off, and we go, oh, they must know each other. They could be friends. Glimmer and Harpy. We were just talking about the morning. Like 2 years seems to be what everyone is saying. Like they should have waited for 2024 to release the movie.
Yeah, I do agree, and I was thinking logistically, if Marvel had to kind of recalibrate their slate, like we kind of know that they've had to do. Maybe there were, reasons behind that too, and I can kind of, you know, um, do some mental gymnastics to say, well, the next on-screen um, presentation of Black Panther, it would be a little jarring if we don't acknowledge why is Chadwick not here, maybe. So I can maybe see why they sort of felt cornered, not just like, by the audience pushback that they were forecasting, but also just, from like a narrative standpoint, even though the actor shouldn't be tied to the narrative, but maybe like, yeah, like audience reception was also there, and maybe just like, the cinematic representation of one depiction, like possibly being jarring as well. So I'm kind of, trying to think in Marvel shoes as far as like what decisions they had to make in order to kind of recalibrate the story and make it work the way that they did.
Since I didn't see
Simple,
Shuri,
simple. They could have just been like, alternate universe. Dang, that's so hard. How many times have they did that in the Flash? Granted, he had the power to like run and change stuff, like by going to different timelines and stuff. But like, damn, alternate timeline. Is that so hard? Was that hard? Was
I
that
agree.
hard?
I agree. There was and they kind of alluded didn't they say that What If was canonical as well? So that alternate,
Yeah.
T'Challa being raised by uh
Star Lord, or no, Yondu.
Yondu. Yeah, that would have been great. Like, he kind of pops up from that, that multiverse version of himself and comes back maybe. Or just, an on-screen representation of him from that universe. He goes away and maybe there we are introduced to even like another, multiverse T'Challa from there. I don't know. They could have, finagled their way or finessed it somehow.
literally anything could have happened. I forgot what I was gonna say to you to reply, Rhea, but that's cool. We're about done this stream. Go check out Pam Entertainment TV. Pam, are you about to go to another stream right now? Where are you heading to?
Heading over here to Cat to talk about the new revelations in the Jonathan Majors case.
Oh, the news story in the Jonathan Majors. Nadia, don't do that. We got more. So go over to Kat's YouTube channel. It's KATT. Check her out. Bye, Pamela. Bzzz,
It
down
was
the
great
street.
meeting you.
Well, I don't think she heard you say that.
Oh,
But
okay.
now we got Rhea from the Glimmering Harpy. Promote.
Yeah, at the moment I'm taking a content break, but I'm really active on Twitter. So any sort of like updates or things that I'm working on, I do podcasts often. It's at Glimmering Harpy across all platforms. So yeah, check me out.
There it is. And then Nadia, what if we want you? Where do we go? Is there a cave that we can find you in? Is there entertainment that we can see you live streaming with?
Yeah, you can find me on Low Key Cave on Fridays, Tuesdays, and you can find me Wednesdays at the OOC at Bigger Four Entertainment. And you can follow me on Instagram at D_does. Check out my music.
Woo! We're out.